In the quiet countryside of northeastern France, a dark chapter unfolded, a relentless struggle that shook the very foundations of war itself. This battle was not only waged to cause damage and casualties, but to ruin the morale of the French army as well. Hello there, welcome to Eventful Insights. Today's video will delve into the horrifying Battle of Verdun. Together, let's find out the tactics and decision-making that affected thousands of lives and two nations at war. But before that, do you remember what triggered the First World War? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, let's unravel the events. During World War I, France and Germany were known enemies, fighting each other in a long history of battles. German General Erich von Falkenhayn, the Chief of Staff of the German Army, believed that the outcome of the war would be determined in France. He thought that Germany's best chance of success was through a strategy of attrition. In a letter to German Emperor William II in late 1915, Falkenhayn argued that Britain was the strongest of the Allied powers. However, he believed that Britain could not be directly attacked, except through submarine warfare, as the British sector of the Western Front was not suitable for offensive operations. Falkenhayn believed that Britain's true strength in the war came from its support of the French, Russian, and Italian armies. He saw Russia as already incapacitated and Italy as having little impact on the war's outcome, leading him to the conclusion that only France remains. Now Germany has decided to put a target on Verdun. Verdun's fortress and surrounding defences along the Meuse River were chosen because they posed a direct threat to German communication lines. On the morning of February 21st, 1916, at 7:12 a.m., a shot fired from a German Krupp 38-centimeter long-barreled gun marked the beginning of the Battle of Verdun. This shot struck a cathedral in Verdun, France, initiating a bombardment by over 1,200 similar weapons aimed at French forces along a 20-kilometer front spanning the Meuse River. This battle, lasting for 10 months, became the longest conflict of World War I. By early 1916, trench warfare had become the norm along the Western Front in France, from the Swiss border to the English Channel. Despite the harsh conditions in the trenches, Falkenhayn believed that victory in the war lay not in facing Russia in the east, but in defeating the French in a decisive battle on the Western Front. The German army's plan aimed to achieve a favorable operational situation without launching a large-scale attack, as previous attempts by the Franco-British had proven costly and ineffective. Falkenhayn's strategy relied on heavy artillery to cause significant casualties. A limited offensive at Verdun was intended to exhaust the French strategic reserves through futile counterattacks and to defeat British reinforcements during a futile relief effort. This would compel the French to seek a separate peace. If negotiation failed, the second phase involved attacking the weakened Franco-British armies and expelling the British from Europe. To execute this plan, Falkenhayn needed to retain enough strategic reserves to defeat Anglo-French relief efforts and launch a counter-offensive. This limited the number of divisions available for Operation Judgment at Verdun. In 1915, most of the guns and ammunition in the forts of the fortified region of Verdun, or the RFV, were removed, leaving only heavy guns in retractable turrets. The transformation of the RFV into a more traditional linear defense with trenches and barbed wire began slowly, as resources were diverted to the Second Battle of Champagne. Trench lines known as the 1st, 2nd and 3rd positions were constructed, and by January 1916, an inspection found them satisfactory with minor deficiencies. The garrisons in the fortresses were reduced to small maintenance crews, and some forts were prepared for demolition. However, attempts to inspect some forts were denied by central military authorities. Douaumont, the largest fort, had only a few artillery guns left by February 1916. It was being used as barracks for a small group of technicians, and many defensive features were unmanned or disabled. Colonel Émile Drian, stationed at Verdun, criticized the removal of artillery and infantry from the fortresses, a sentiment supported by the Minister for War, Joseph Gallieni. Despite warnings, the formidable Verdun defenses faced a serious threat from a potential German offensive. But before finding out the outcome of the battle, do you think Germany would be successful in their plan? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to know more about the long history of battles and wars all over the globe, go check out our channel for videos like this. Now let's go back. The first phase of the Battle of Verdun, from February 21st to March 31st, 1916, saw initial German success in capturing key positions like Fort Douaumont and the village of Vaux on the right bank of the Meuse River. The Germans aimed to take control of the Meuse Heights, a strategic defensive position with good artillery observation. Initially caught off guard, the French quickly reinforced their positions and immobilized the Germans with artillery fire by February 24th. The Germans expanded their attacks to the west bank of the Meuse, capturing strategic points. Fierce fighting ensued with heavy casualties on both sides, leading to the Germans capturing lower crests of strategic hills like Le Mort-Homme. On the left bank, the Germans captured defensive works around Hardemont and made unsuccessful attempts to take Vaux. Fresh German troops renewed the assault on March 28th, capturing Vaux by March 31st. By April 8th, the French had lost their former front line on the left bank of the Meuse, with the new front passing through Avocourt Hill 304, Le Mort-Homme, and Cumières. During the second phase of the Battle of Verdun, from March 6th to April 15th, 1916, the Germans kept trying to seize control of the Meuse Heights, while the French fought hard to defend their positions. The Germans expanded their attacks to the west bank of the Meuse River and managed to capture important areas like Douaumont village and Bois de Cumières. However, the French held on to the higher part of Le Mort-Homme, creating a kind of neutral area called No Man's Land. The Germans also tried to take the village of Vaux on the right bank, but couldn't succeed. Under Philippe Pétain's command, the French launched counterattacks and refused to give up, despite suffering heavy losses. The German goal was to weaken the French and make them agree to a separate peace, but the French held firm and inflicted heavy casualties on the Germans. The battle turned into a brutal test of endurance for both sides, with neither gaining a clear advantage. The second phase ended with the French still in control of their positions, but at a high cost in lives and resources. During the third phase of the Battle of Verdun, from April 9th to June 15th, 1916, the Germans renewed their attacks on both sides of the Meuse River. They managed to capture Fleury and the first line of trenches near Souville, but faced strong resistance at Froidterre from the French, led by General Philippe Pétain. The battle turned into a bloody stalemate with intense fighting and heavy casualties on both sides. In the fourth phase, from June 15th to December 18th, 1916, the Germans maintained their offensive at Verdun, but were hindered by events on the Eastern Front, particularly the Russian Brusilov offensive. Despite making some gains, including capturing Fleury and trenches near Souville, their progress stalled at Froidterre. The French reclaimed some trenches on Le Mort-Homme, but both sides faced challenges as they prepared for the upcoming Somme offensive. The fourth phase was marked by fierce combat, minor gains at a high cost, and the Germans facing difficulties on multiple fronts. The Battle of Verdun resulted in staggering casualties, with estimates ranging from 162,440 to 542,000 for France and 100,000 to 434,000 for Germany. After 10 months of relentless combat, over 700,000 people were counted as victims, including 305,000 killed or missing and 400,000 wounded on both sides. The battle was characterized by fierce fighting, with the Germans initially seizing strategic positions like Fort Douaumont and Vaux on the right bank of the Meuse River. Its scale and brutality made it one of the defining battles of World War I, showing the horrors of trench warfare and cementing Verdun's status as a symbol of remembrance for the Great War. That is all for today's video. Do you think, with casualties in high numbers from both parties, that anyone actually won the war? Tell me what you think in the comment section below. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for updates. Thanks for watching.